Hey, welcome back everybody. I'm here again in my workroom, and we are here for part 2 of the NES repair series, and this part is going to be about cleaning the NES. And like I said yesterday, this is from the other video I tried to do repairing the NES that had the bad motherboard. So it does have, at the beginning of it, it's going to show you part of the disassembly again, like getting out the power buttons and the controller ports and stuff like that. Sorry about that, it would just be kind of too much of a pain in the butt to remove it, so I just left it in there. But yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and insert that in after this, and I'll see you again tomorrow to do the hardware portion of the series. So thanks for checking this video out, and leave comments down below if you've got any, or any questions or anything like that, and I'll be happy to help you out. Thanks. Alright, so I'm back again, and here we've got the top cover. We are going to clean this puppy up inside, and there are a couple of things to take apart. I'm going to go ahead and magnetize my screwdriver really quick here. That's what noise you're hearing there. But yeah, so you'll remember there was no door on the front of this, and the post was broken off. Now in the top cover here, there is some further disassembly you can do, and that's the two black parts here and the door, if it was there. And those two little black pieces that are on the top cover are held down with these screws that are exactly like the ones I showed you in the cartridge cleaning video on some of the NES cartridges. Has that little indentation in the center and the slots on the sides. But as I said, just standard little small, this is a 1/8 inch flathead screwdriver will make quick work of these. So go ahead and remove those real quick and get those out, because this thing needs a serious clean. And they may need a little bit of force to break them free. They're sitting there for how many some odd years. Now on the back one, it's just going to be the two screws that hold it in. On the front one, it's going to be all three screws. There's two for the black piece, but also there's one that holds down the door that also holds down the black piece, so you're going to have to remove that one as well. And along with that comes this piece here, which is kind of a spring-loaded piece which holds the door, and it's got a little bit of spring tension to it for the door. But and then we'll just go ahead and remove the other one on the other side for the door, which is held down by the same type of screw. And whoops. So we'll get that out of the way. That's just garbage. The post from that, but yeah, pull off this these here, and they're a little bit dirty. There's some crud that's gotten in the cracks there. Let's set those aside. And inside here I'm seeing where some spiders hatched and whatnot, but on the top here it just looks like it's disgusting. But one thing that a lot of people like to do with these plastic pieces once they get everything taken apart is to stick them in their dishwasher. I've seen people do this. It's an interesting idea. I've never tried it personally. I'm not really keen on trying it, mainly because I've seen plastic melt inside of dishwashers, and I really don't want to deform the plastic, and so I'll just take the longer method and I clean it by hand. So I'm going to set this aside really quick here, and we're just going to finish disassembling the bottom, because it's got the power and reset buttons and the controller ports still in there. Now, to get the controller ports out, they're just held in with these two screws on the bottom. So I just get those out real quick. And the front fascia just comes off, and back over, and with the wires, those will just come right out. Now it is kind of tempting to send this one through the dishwasher with how gross the bottom of this is, but I will show you how I clean them by hand. But I'm going to remove these two buttons in the power light. It's just two Phillips head screws from the top. And it just pops right out with the wire. So now we've got all of our plastic pieces disassembled. We can go ahead and start cleaning this stuff up. And hopefully getting this thing looking like it hasn't been in Hurricane Katrina. But yeah, we'll be right back and we'll show you how to do that. Alright, so we're back again. And this is the part that I have been dying to do because I'm a bit OCD and dirty things really, I don't like dirty things, and this thing's just really gross. And I've been dying to clean it. So what I am going to use to clean this up is one of these, and this is a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. As I've warned you before with these, they are abrasive. The more pressure that you apply, the more abrasive they become, and mostly this thing is just dirty. There's a couple of spots I can see here where it's going to take a little bit of pressure, but this isn't really going to require much pressure at all just to get this dirt off, but it's going to clean this really easily and a lot better than most any other method I know. So how these work is you're just going to dip them in some warm or hot water or something. I've got some, this is pretty warm water here, and then just get it squeezed out somewhat. You don't want water all over the place when you're using these things. And then just start scrubbing, get the dirt off, and oh man, this is really improving. I mean, I can tell already it's the color is changing. It's actually going back to gray rather than this terrifyingly ugly shit brown color that it was. But yeah, I've got one spot here that looks like it's a little red spot. It's going to require a bit more pressure, and it's off. Come over here. Wow, that has a world of difference. Get a little bit more water in this thing. And I'm gonna get the side here. Probably can't see me. It's probably out of frame, but it's pretty clear what I'm doing. And front here. Yeah, that happens. They fall apart as you use them. Unfortunately, the front is a little bit cracked on the side here. Not too bad, but just a little tiny crack. Hopefully this thing's going to look pretty much new when I'm done. You know, it's just surprising to me that I bought this thing for $7 on eBay. And if the person that sold it had taken, just a little bit of time, they could have cleaned this thing up and, gotten a door for it. Because, I mean, you can get a door for one of these things for nothing. And put it back together, and even then, without, having, done anything else of what I'm going to show you here to refurbish it or make sure that it works, it would have sold for more. I can guarantee you I wouldn't have paid $7 for this thing because other people would have actually bid on it because it looked good. I mean, the thing looked like absolute crap. So nobody wants to bid on something that looks like somebody puked on it or something. But yeah, that is basically all cleaned up for the most part, except for one spot. And that's a place where crud and dirt loves to hide, and that's in these vents here. So, what I'm going to start out doing is just use some compressed air. Basically, I just want to get out what crud I can before actually doing this, but for this part, I like to use a toothbrush and some Windex. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the Windex in the vent there and just start going at it with the toothbrush. Also getting here in these cracks where the black parts go, because there's a lot of crud in there. Now you really want to get in these vents. It takes a little bit of work, and I can understand why people would just rather use the dishwasher method. It's a lot easier. I mean, this is kind of a pain in the ass, but you know, I've never shied away from just getting in there and getting my hands dirty and actually getting some work done. Yeah, just give it a good scrubbing right there. Make sure I got in these areas here where the magic eraser may have had a little trouble. Come here on the back. Now, next part is I'm going to use one of these, a Windex wipe, because with all that dirt on there, it's left some dirt from my hands and whatnot. So I'm just gonna use this to help get off any leftover residue or crap from cleaning it up earlier, because my hands were wet with those wipes. There we go. Now I'm just going to dry it up using some good old-fashioned paper towels. So now there's a lot of crap left over in those vents there. So what I'm going to use for that is some more compressed air, just like so now also a air compressor would work great for this, because compressed air, cans of compressed air, just really not cheap. Not to mention, they are not very efficient. Start getting the slightest bit cold and they no longer have any pressure. But there we go. As you can see, the top cover is all cleaned up and looking very nice on the outside here, but underneath is a different story, mostly because with all that scrubbing we did, and especially in the vents here, there's a lot of dirt underneath here. So just get this and wipe up and clean up this crap that's under here, including that old spider's nest. And I mean, it's not too dirty under here, so just quick cleanup should do just fine. Now just dry it up with some paper towels. Alright, so our top cover is done. Let's go ahead and move on to the bottom piece. I will be back in a second for that. Alright, so here we have the bottom piece. And yeah, this is much more disgusting than the top piece because of all the shit that's in the bottom here. So what I'm going to do first is, with the compressed air, I'm going to hurry and blow what I can out of here. So I'm going to take that off frame for a second and point it away from myself because that's really gross. Now that's unfortunate. That didn't do much. Most of this stuff, I guess, is stuck pretty firmly to the bottom of the casing here. So basically what I'm going to have to do is, using one of these Windex wipes, is just get in there and wipe it up. I'm going to do this like I would wash my car. I'm going to just do it in sections so that it doesn't have a chance to dry, because you don't want the crud drying back on there. And so just go ahead and clean up a section, dry it off. Yeah, I know. I'm OCD and it's showing here. Probably don't really need to do this, and it's not going to affect the operation of your NES to have dirt in it. I mean, you'd be surprised what you can find in some electronics. This actually isn't as bad as some that I've seen. I mean, it's working on computers for a living. You find some pretty nasty crap inside of machines that surprises you. Worst is dead animals. That's always my favorite. Alright, now for the worst part of it, the front here. I don't know what all this crap is, but these people weren't not very clean. And this, whatever this stuff is, it's stuck pretty good. Kind of yellow splotches of something. I mean, I assume that someone in the house in this NES's lifetime was a smoker, because it smelled of nicotine really badly when I got it. I mean, it smelled like an ashtray. One way you can try to help with that is to open it up and air it out. That kind of helps. But one thing that I found really helps is some, you know, the Febreze, not Febreze, the Swiffer, those Swiffer dusters. Well, they partnered up with Febreze, or maybe they're owned by the same conglomeration, I don't know, but you can get those and they're Febreze scented. And I just took one of those and put it inside of here. Just stuck it in the cartridge slot and let it sit. And I mean, it did a pretty good job of getting rid of the smell. I mean, it does not smell anymore. It's just really gross on the inside, but yeah. So I'm just gonna dry this out. And honestly, I mean, this is pretty much the same fare as doing the front cover. And now I'm gonna clean the outside of it, and it's pretty much going to be the same of what I did on the top cover there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back and we'll get to cleaning the cartridge slot, because that thing is actually pretty gross as well. So I will be back in just a minute. Alright, so we got this bottom part of the case cleaned up, and one thing I didn't show you was you might want to clean in here. Crud likes to hide in cracks and crevices, so I cleaned up in and around there, and as I said, I'm OCD, so I did take a Q-tip to areas that I couldn't reach, but for the most part this is looking a heck of a lot better. Looks pretty close to new, besides some scrapes and marks, but yeah, so that is done. We'll move that over there with the top cover, and now we'll get on to the cartridge cage here. I already blew this thing off because it was pretty dusty, but yeah. Now I'm noticing on the bottom here, I'm not sure if it's really showing up. Yeah, you can kind of see it right there. Seeing some of this white stuff again. I'm not really sure what it is. If it's maybe what's left over from some sort of bacterial growth, or I don't know. But yeah, so it looks like it, and that's about where the white residue was on the motherboard in comparison to the cage. But yeah, let's go ahead and clean this thing up. Get rid of whatever this crap is, but I'm just going to use one of these Windex wipes for this, and it comes right off. So whatever it is, who knows? Who knows? Who cares? Just clean it up. Yeah, it looks much better. Got some corrosion or dirt or something on the top of the cage here, and Windex is obviously not strong enough for whatever it is, so let's use this. Even the magic eraser's having trouble with this. Try the more abrasive side. Yeah, whatever that is a little bit stubborn. I really don't care too much to really fight with it any more than that, but for the most part that is off. But now we'll go ahead and just take this Windex wipe to the inside of the cage here, clean off any remaining dirt stuck to it. Now we'll just get it compressed there and blow off the lint from the paper towel there. Now with that done, let's move to our last piece here, which is our power and reset switch, which really wouldn't think too much about it, but yeah, whatever grime and disgusting stuff was in the bottom of the NES there is also all over these buttons. So I'm just going to use the Windex wipe to clean off whatever that was, because it was also kind of causing them to stick. When we push them in, they weren't going in too smoothly, so go ahead and just clean that off. And there we go. Everything is clean and it is ready to go back together. But before we put everything back together, we are going to get to the meat and potatoes of this thing and actually get to refurbishing the hardware, which is probably the reason why most of you are watching this video in the first place. So let me grab the board and the 72-pin connector, and I will come back and we'll do that.